Hi gang, it's Jeff Schmidt. Today is a very special episode of Holy Schmidt. We have a trainer and someone I've been working out with for several years now, Coach DJ Colella, on the show, and he's going to talk about fitness over 50.
Hey everybody.
One of the things that we try to bring to you on this channel is something different each time. It's not all about retirement finances, although a lot of it is, but really we focus on people going into or approaching retirement, and this is that type of video. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that people exercising over 50 plus really care about. By way of background, DJ and I have known each other now for several years now.
Yep.
I probably worked out with him 50, 60 times over that period of time. And he's a personal trainer. He's someone that goes into your home either in person, or I guess you can do it by Zoom now, can't you?
Could do it by Zoom, sure.
You can do it by Zoom or in person to get fit. And so I've utilized DJ a number of different ways, and we're going to cover off some of the things that are really important for people over 50 when it comes to exercise. Now let's just jump right in. DJ, let me ask you a question. Why is it so hard to stay in shape when you're 50 years old or older?
Well, Jeff, it comes as no surprise to those of us who have reached 50 and over that your body changes over time. And some of the things that happen just naturally, you can't get in the way of it. It's just going to happen. We try to fight it the best we can. You naturally lose muscle mass. Another thing that winds up happening is that your metabolism slows. So the ability to manage your weight becomes more of a challenge as well. A big factor in trying to keep moving the best we can is the reduced flexibility that we have. As you age, your tendons lose elasticity. And also, I know anybody who's had an x-ray as you've reached 50 plus, the ortho is going to tell you, oh, I see some arthritis in there. And that can get in the way of your range of motion and limit the ability for you to do things as you used to do when you were in your 30s. Another thing that's really important is that if you're trying to keep up and keep moving, your recovery time slows. So you wind up maybe needing a little more rest than you normally were used to when you were working out 10 years ago or even, 5 years ago.
And so should people just throw in the towel at 50? I mean, is it all over then?
I am a big believer that all ages can be fit, and in my workouts, everyone's an athlete. Many different levels of athlete, but if you're there and you're doing it and you're moving and you're trying, that's a level of athlete. Maybe not an elite athlete anymore, but there's different levels. And so the idea of throwing in the towel, I can't do it anymore, is actually a bigger detriment, not only for your fitness levels, but also for your mental well-being as well.
And so, DJ, for those of us that are aging, which is everybody, do the exercises change? Are they different when you're 50 or 60 than when you were 20 or 25?
So, Jeff, something I've seen happen, especially with the advent of social media and Instagram, is that you scroll through these videos and you see people doing things that I would never have anybody do. I mean, I literally saw somebody doing pull-ups with a couch hanging from their waist. There's some ridiculous things out there, and you don't need to do that. There's basic exercises that we've done all of our lives that we should still be doing to maintain and to continue either trying to maintain our strength or get strong again.
Now, so for someone who is just starting an exercise program, who maybe had a hard charging career and they didn't have time to get to the gym. Now they're 50, 55, 60 plus. How do they begin? What do they do to get started after having not been fit for so long?
So I see this a lot, and I talk to a lot of people about this exact thing. I used to be fit, and I kind of just got inundated with everything that's happening in my life and work and family and everything else, and they've really taken a pause on their fitness regimen. And I believe the first thing that they should do is get just a general physical overall, and let their GP tell them, hey, everything's looking good. You can definitely go and start some cardio, or your cholesterol, heart rate, whatever it is that doctor's going to tell you, that yes, go ahead. And I bet you that doctor would say you probably should seek some professional help from a personal trainer, maybe a physical therapist, or if you're going to a reputable club, a gym, your group fitness instructors in those types of establishments are going to be trained in designing a well-designed workout that's going to be safe, and they'll be able to give you options and modify for all different levels of athlete.
Now, a question for me personally, and I know that a lot of people out there have the same issue. What time of day do you work out? Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Is it evening? Is it before you go to bed? I know you're at the gym at 5 a.m. working people out, and I know that you're at the gym at 5 p.m. sometimes working people out.
Yes, that is true. You have to fit it into your lifestyle. And there are some people who they have, the kids still need to, get them ready for school and get them out on a bus. And so you might see some of those people at 5 a.m. But then I do have those professionals that they get their crazy hectic day done and they unplug. So that 6 p.m. time slot is their sweet spot.
What about people who are on the road? Should they just catch up when they get back and not exercise when they're in the hotel?
People go on vacation for a week. They go away on a business trip or what have you. The ability to do something, and just like it says at the top of that piece of paper right there, keep moving. There's the walk on the beach. Most hotels have some kind of fitness area where you could do something, but the idea is to keep moving. Walking, taking the stairs instead of taking the elevator up to the fourth floor. There's so many options of being able to do something in your hotel room, but the moving is the most important. The walk.
All right, let's talk about mobility now. There are some things that you can do at 20 that you can't do at 50 or 60.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see as the biggest mobility issue for people 50 plus?
As far as mobility goes, staying mobile and flexible are super important because, as I mentioned earlier, our tendons naturally lose elasticity as we age. You want to look for things, especially in people my age or older, shoulders, and this is simple, just getting that range of motion. And if you feel like I can get to here and I can't go any higher, you started and you can go here, and over time you can increase that range of motion with some work, some exercises that we can go over at in another video the next time we get together or in another space. But shoulders for sure, and hip mobility, especially for those of us who spend time driving a lot or sitting behind a desk at a computer a lot. The hips, the hip flexors in the front of the hip area tighten. So when that happens, your ability to do other things that you might see people doing in a video online, like even basic things like a lunge or a squat, it can hamper your ability to get a deep range of motion, and it will limit your range of motion if those areas are not flexible.
All right, now let's talk about home exercises, because although I think you may have people that want to contact you about personal training, a lot of the viewers are just going to know what can I do at home to improve my fitness.
Sure. Some of the things that you should focus on are strength training. That's going to be a big part of your fitness component. There's cardio, and I don't want people to think cardio needs to be banging away for an hour on a treadmill, or it could be like the walks that we talked about, or a bike ride. It's got to be some kind of movement that is going to increase the level of heart rate depending on your level of ability and what your doctor tells you, like, hey, yeah, you can go all the way. The big asterisk on that is if you're someone coming back to it, you need to start small, start slow. And this is where that fitness professional comes in, where they can design something for you that's going to make sense, that you're not going to be so sore the next day that you're like, oh, forget this, I can't do it. And then show you how to progress and give you a program that's going to make sense for you. The flexibility we talked about, I'm going to add a little bit on that flexibility to say balance. And when you reach the ripe old age of 50 or plus, or it becomes even more important to work on balance. And that's something that you can do at home. As we reach, and we all want to, as long as we're nice and healthy, 80s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, the balance piece is going to be crucial. And if you don't start working on it now, the harder it will be to gain balance. The good news is now, 50 plus, where we're talking about, it can improve. I've watched it. I teach a specific class that incorporates balance, and I've watched people really get flustered and lose their balance on some of these pieces of equipment that I'm talking about, and then all of a sudden they're like a statue on that piece of equipment.
Yes.
You may know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're saying. I've experienced it myself with you.
Yes.
In fact.
The last piece is, and again, it's on that nice whiteboard there, is the healthy diet.
Yes.
And it has to be balanced. In that balanced diet, a dessert here and there to enjoy and say, I earned that, and enjoy it. Yes. If you're a person who has a cocktail here and there, or a glass of beer, there's nothing wrong with that. I think everything in moderation is important. Protein. If you're going to start adding some kind of strength training into your program, and that doesn't mean you have to lift big barbells, but some kind of strength training, it could be body weight to start. The adequate amount of protein for recovery is also important.
Why is it that I'm always hungry and I want to continue to eat, even though it's probably not really good for me? But that wasn't a problem back in the day. What's changed?
The day you're born is the day that your metabolism is the highest. And from that day, it is on a trajectory going that way. And so it happens to men and women. As you start to age, your metabolism naturally slows down. So you're fighting certain things. The ability to eat, a bag of chips, or to go and have wings for lunch and then dinner also, splurge on a big bowl of pasta, you're going to have trouble burning all of that. Now, sensible, nice handful of pasta. I eat pasta. I enjoy it. Do I have chicken wings? Of course I do. But in my workout regimen, I know that I'm also moving, whether I'm doing some incline walking on a treadmill, or I teach spin classes, so that it's already built in for me. I'm already moving on a spin bike, which is very safe, not hard on the joints. Anybody can do it. You don't need special equipment for it. That's something that I recommend. You'll be able to burn some of those calories, and you're making, so if you build some muscle and you're burning some calories with cardio, you're making your body this calorie burning factory. So you can indulge in some of those things reasonably, and you're not going to see lots of this weight gain. If you're not doing anything and you're eating the same way you always have with a slower metabolism, the result is not going to be something that you might be happy with.
And what about sleep? Now, I know as I've gotten older, sleep has become more and more difficult for me, and I don't think I'm alone. I think a lot of people watching this video are having sleep issues, or at least they don't sleep like they used to. They can't sleep until noon the next day like they did when they were 20 years old, for example. Yeah. How important is sleep to your overall health?
Sleep is crucial. It's the way the body recovers and rejuvenates and regenerates. So I'm right there with you. I do not sleep as long as I used to be able to. My goal at this point is at least 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Would I love that to be 7? My body's just designed to, it wakes up when it wakes up, and the falling back to sleep at 4 a.m. doesn't happen for me. But that's okay, because I've gotten myself to a point by the time I go to bed, at a reasonable hour, and I try to keep that pretty steady. 9:30, I go to bed. I wake up somewhere around 3:45, and I start my day. It's been enough for me. Do I fatigue? I fatigue. I work hard, and I know many of you, all of you, work hard in the different ways that you do. But some of my job is physical, and I get fatigued. But by keeping as steady the sleep and wake up times as possible, and not eating right before you go to bed, because that's a lot of times going to, for some reason, wake you up in the middle of the night. As we age, I wouldn't drink a lot of water right before you go to bed, because you're going to have to wake up and pee. So you're looking for uninterrupted sleep. You're looking for times that you can kind of stay close to of going to bed and waking up. And I think that's going to help a lot.
One of the things that I really enjoy about DJ is he's very open. He's willing to talk and give good advice no matter what. And so would it be okay if they contact you with questions?
Absolutely.
What's your email address?
CoachDJWorkout at gmail.com.
CoachDJWorkout@gmail.com.
You got it.
I will put that in the description below and also as a banner on the bottom of this video. All right, now, as we're talking about home exercises, I'm going to try to demonstrate.
Oh, you got this.
Some exercises that you can do at home with DJ's help, of course. DJ, can you talk about what we're going to do next?
Sure. Simple things, but very effective. Something pushing, like the push-up, squatting, and abdominal core exercises. So in showing a push-up, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
There are lots of ways to progress or regress the push-up, but the traditional push-up you've seen on the floor, and your hands on the floor, your body's nice and straight, and you would push yourself up and off the floor. You could do that from the knees, so that means your knees are on the floor and you're still doing the push-up, but it's less resistance because it's less body weight. There's also the push-up against something that's inclined, so that it's less resistance, less body weight. For example, putting your hands on the table and legs out and doing a push-up in that way.
Maybe I'll try one of those right here.
Let's go.
All right, so I just go back to the side of the table. So this is, if someone hasn't done a push-up before, they're not fit enough to do a regular flat push-up. Mm-hmm. This is a good starting exercise.
If we're going back that far, you could even start against the wall, as long as you're pushing your body weight. But for this one, we're talking about most people maybe. From here, your feet behind you, keeping your body in a straight line, meaning you're not sagging your hips down.
Okay.
And your elbows are going to come out at an angle away from your body, and then push right back to this position.
Let me see here. So about shoulder width apart for the hands.
That looks good.
Elbows away from the body.
There you go.
And then push back up.
So what I noticed that your elbows were not as high as your shoulders.
Yes.
They came back a little bit, so that's going to keep everything in a nice safe line and work the muscle the best and most effective way possible.
Seems like I might have done this with you before.
Hey, expert level.
All right, and so the next exercise is for the core, is that right?
Core exercises. So people think the core is that six-pack or the abdominals. And when we talk about core in the fitness world, your core wraps around the entire body. So it is connected to glutes, lower back, hips, abdominals, and exercises to work those areas. If you were to work with any physical therapist on any kind of rehab, the first place they start is here. So bicycle crunches from a standing position, this is going to get the core.
Okay, so let me try that. So I'm going to do a bicycle crunch for the core. So hands up like this, and then just like this.
Trying to get the opposite elbow to the knee.
Like that.
As close as you can. And that's going to give you a little bit of rotation, a little cross-core work. And from a standing position, you can make that more challenging. If you're lying on your back, it becomes a little more challenging. You could add to that exercise and get a squat and touch, which is the next exercise we're going to talk about, and probably the last one for today is the squat.
The squat. Okay, so I'm going to back up here so the camera can see most of me. And so how do I do the squat the proper way?
So when we're going to squat, it's very important that your hips are about hip width apart.
Okay, so feet are about hip width apart.
Looks good. Your toes are pointing straight ahead of you.
Okay, doing that.
And now this is something that you'll have to focus on for yourself if you're at home and nobody's watching you, like a trainer or some kind of fitness professional. As you come down, your hips are going to shift back. your knees want to be in line with the big toe and second toe. So you don't want the knees to cave in, and you don't want the knees to splay out. Okay. You want to keep everything in a nice straight line. So the knees bend, the hips shift back. Draw the core in tight. Boom.
Like this.
Let's see it. Looks good. There you go. And what you do with the arms is up to you. Some people get that arm motion like this. If that feels... So, a lot of us have to get up and off that chair. That can be something that if you're not ready for the squat, you can sit in your chair and come up. Sit in your chair, come up. Now when I'm coming up, I'm engaging the glutes. I'm giving it a squeeze back there. Don't push the hips forward, but just engage. So that's called a tap squat, but it gives you a target to hit if you're not ready to go deep into that squat.
Gang, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much. And as always, make sure that you click subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't subscribed to the channel before. There's a lot happening in the world, and we work very hard to get what's out there in here for you. Also, make sure you check out that video right there. It's one that YouTube has hand selected for you based on your viewing behavior. This is Jeff Schmidt, and I will see you in that video right there.
Thanks, Jeff.